There are cars that simply move you from one place to another, and then there are cars that make you fall in love with driving all over again. And today on Prime Car Culture, we are standing in front of a machine that belongs firmly in that second category, the reborn Ford Capri, a name that once defined affordable performance coupes in Europe, and is now returned as a bold, electric coupe-styled crossover that blends heritage with a genuinely futuristic soul. So if you love cars that carry a story while pushing forward into tomorrow, stay with us because this walk-around is going to be a treat from the very first second to the very last frame. And by the time we finish, you will understand exactly why enthusiasts around the world have been talking about this comeback for months. We begin right at the face of this machine, where the front grille area immediately tells you this is not a retro throwback trying to copy the past. Instead, it is a smooth, mostly closed-off panel finished in body color, with a subtle silver trim strip running across it, giving the nose a clean, confident, almost futuristic identity that instantly separates it from the fuel-burning Capris of decades ago, while still whispering a bit of that original attitude. A nose that looks equally at home cruising through a city center or sitting parked outside a mountain lodge on a crisp autumn morning. Moving slightly upward and outward, the headlights command attention with their slim, sharp housings that stretch elegantly toward the front fenders, using crisp projector elements that look almost jewel-like when the light catches them, giving the entire face a focused, purposeful, almost predatory stare that feels premium the moment you lock eyes with it. And at night, these units throw a clean, wide beam that makes the whole front end look even more precise and technical than it already does in daylight. Just beneath and gently around those main headlamp clusters, the daytime running lights draw a thin, glowing signature line that curves gracefully along the edge of the lighting unit, creating a distinctive lighting fingerprint so that even in a crowded parking lot, you would recognize this Capri silhouette from 50 yards away purely by its light pattern glowing gently and softly in the daylight. A small detail that adds a surprising amount of personality to an otherwise clean and restrained front fascia. Walking around to the side profile, the alloy wheels immediately grab your attention. Large diameter, multi-spoke designs finished in a sleek two-tone treatment that mixes gloss and satin surfaces, wrapped in performance-oriented rubber that fills out the wheel arches beautifully, and hints strongly at the athletic character hiding underneath this coupe crossover shape. And every time light hits those spokes at a slightly different angle, you catch a fresh reflection that makes them look almost sculptural rather than purely functional. Right along the doors, the flush-mounted door handles sit almost perfectly seamlessly integrated into the bodywork, popping out smoothly when you approach or press them. A small detail that not only looks futuristic, but also helps the car slip through the air more efficiently. Proof that even the smallest touches on this Capri have been engineered with intention rather than just decoration, turning something as ordinary as opening a car door into a small, satisfying moment of theater every single time. The side mirrors continue that same theme of aerodynamic confidence. Slim, sculpted housings mounted on thin stalks, integrated turn signal strips built into their edges, and a shape clearly optimized in a wind tunnel to keep cabin noise low, while still giving the driver a wide, trustworthy view of the road behind. And on higher trims, these mirrors even fold in automatically once you lock up and walk away, a tiny convenience that quietly reinforces the premium nature of this whole package. Swinging around to the rear of the car, the taillights are honestly one of the most dramatic elements of this entire design. A full-width, illuminated light bar that stretches from one corner of the car to the other, glowing in a rich, deep red signature that instantly becomes iconic after dark, giving the rear end a wide, planted, unmistakably modern stance that photographs beautifully in any lighting condition, especially on a wet evening road, where that glowing red line reflects off the pavement below. Since this Capri is built around an electric powertrain, you will not find traditional twin exhaust tips poking out from under the rear bumper, and that is perfectly fine, because the clean, uninterrupted lower fascia actually reinforces just how forward-thinking this whole design language really is. A Capri built for the next chapter of driving, rather than a nostalgic copy of what came before. Right in the center of that rear panel, the brand emblem sits proudly illuminated, a glowing badge that lights up as you approach the vehicle, turning something as simple as a logo into a genuine piece of theater every single time you walk up to this car in a darkened garage or driveway. Now let us step inside, because the cabin of this Capri is where the premium story truly reaches its peak, starting with a dashboard that stretches wide and low across the interior, wrapped in soft touch materials, subtle textured panels, and thoughtfully placed trim pieces that immediately tell you this is not a budget electric vehicle, but a genuinely aspirational one, with every seam and panel gap lining up so precisely that it feels closer to a design studio concept than a mass-produced family crossover. Your hands land naturally on a steering wheel that feels sculpted rather than simply round, flattened slightly at the bottom, wrapped in a grippy leather-like material, and dotted with intuitive controls that let you manage everything from media to driver assistance without ever taking your eyes off the road ahead. And the rim itself feels substantial in your palms, giving you real confidence the moment you pull away from a stop. Directly behind that wheel, a crisp digital instrument cluster glows to life, presenting speed, range, and driving data in sharp, configurable graphics that feel more like a premium smartphone display than a traditional car gauge cluster, instantly modernizing the entire driving experience. And you can cycle through different visual themes depending on whether you want a minimalist layout or one packed with detailed trip information. Sitting prominently in the center of the dashboard, a large, vividly bright infotainment screen dominates the view, running smooth, responsive software that handles navigation, climate, music, and vehicle settings, all wrapped in a clean, uncluttered interface that feels genuinely premium rather than overwhelming or gimmicky, with menus that respond instantly to a light touch and graphics sharp enough to rival the tablet sitting on your kitchen counter at home. Below that screen, the center console continues the same sense of thoughtful design, offering a mix of physical shortcut buttons alongside a sleek, minimalist layout, proving that even in a screen-dominated era, this Capri still respects the driver's need for tactile, easy-to-reach controls during a spirited drive, with a soft padded armrest and a covered storage bin underneath that swallows up phones, wallets, and sunglasses without any fuss. Just ahead of the center console area, a compact modern gear selector replaces the old-fashioned mechanical lever, a small rotary or toggle-style unit that frees up space and gives the entire lower dashboard area a cleaner, more lounge-like feeling that fits perfectly with the car's electric, forward-facing personality, and the freed-up space beneath it doubles as a handy tray for everyday essentials on the go. Settling into the front seats, you immediately notice the supportive bolstering, the breathable upholstery, and the genuinely comfortable cushioning that keeps you planted through corners while still feeling relaxed on longer motorway stretches. Exactly the balance you would want from a coupe-styled crossover wearing this kind of badge. And available heating and cooling functions make these seats just as welcome on a freezing January morning as they are on a blazing summer afternoon. As the sun goes down, the cabin transforms thanks to a customizable ambient lighting system that washes the door panels, dashboard, and lower console in soft, glowing tones, letting you dial in a mood that ranges from calm and relaxing to sporty and energetic depending entirely on your personal taste for that particular drive, and cycling through the available color palette. After dark genuinely feels like stepping into a lounge on wheels rather than an ordinary commuter vehicle. Running your hand along the door panels, you will notice the same attention to detail continues seamlessly from the dashboard. Soft padded sections, contrast stitching, and available leather or leather-like surfaces that reinforce just how seriously this Capri takes the idea of everyday luxury, rather than treating premium materials as an occasional afterthought. And even the smaller touchpoints like the window switches and door pulls carry a satisfying damped weight to them that reminds you someone thought carefully about how this cabin would feel under your fingertips every single day. And since this generation of Capri leans into an electric performance identity, the story under the hood, or rather under the front and rear covers, is just as exciting as everything you have seen so far, with an electric motor setup, in higher trims, a dual-motor all-wheel drive configuration, delivering strong, immediate torque that pushes this coupe crossover from a standstill, with genuinely surprising urgency for something this practical, spacious, and family-friendly. Popping open that front compartment reveals a neatly organized space, housing the electric drive components, cooling systems, and supporting hardware. A clean, engineering-focused layout that replaces the traditional combustion engine bay with something quieter, more efficient, remarkably tidy, and arguably just as fascinating to look at for anyone who appreciates modern automotive technology. Getting a much closer look at these electric components, you can appreciate the precision packaging, the neatly routed cabling, and the overall sense that every single inch of available space has been used purposefully and thoughtfully, proving that electrification does not have to mean sacrificing the sense of engineering theater that enthusiasts have always loved about opening a hood. And that brings us to the end of this detailed walk-around of the all-new Ford Capri, a car that manages to honor a genuinely beloved nameplate while confidently stepping into an electrified, screen-filled, thoroughly modern future, proving beyond doubt that some legendary names truly deserve a second life, rather than a quiet, forgotten retirement. If you enjoyed riding along with us through every single detail of this stunning coupe crossover, do not forget to smash that like button, drop your thoughts down in the comments, and subscribe to Prime Car Culture so you never miss another premium, detailed look at the world's most exciting cars, because trust us, there is a lot more incredible machinery coming your way very soon, right here on this channel, so buckle up, stay curious, keep exploring, and we will see you in the very next episode.